I have trouble pulling off an entire song.
Bum, bum.
And we know the rest of the tune.
Nice.
And I don't want to risk screwing up even more because I am extremely jet lagged.
I think you caught the essence of that song. That was good.
Oh my God.
I watched an air guitar contest on TV. Like I didn't know like they actually had it on TV.
Is that ESPN Plus or something?
No, they don't even have
plus.
To put that on. Oh my God! Like, these people are just like running around the stage, dressed in hair and everything, makeup, and playing air guitar contests for like $100,000 first prize.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was on cable. I'm like. Honey, you gotta look at this. Look at these idiots. I thought it was just me in the shower.
So you go to college for 4 years, you come home, and you become an air guitarist. I mean,
That's right.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Data Diva is here. What is this?
Right.
Data Diva iPhone. DRC Business.
Will she put her picture on?
Yeah.
It's Debbie.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how are you guys?
Here, a little icon thing is like gone.
Oh, I'm dialing in from a different phone. You want me to dial in on my other phone?
Yeah, maybe, because this looks like really weird.
Okay. Yeah, let me log off of this and then go on the other one.
Okay. All right. Bye. So, hey, everyone. Welcome to IoT Coffee Talk. Remember, take us seriously at your own risk.
At your peril.
Yeah. So you're going to have to mine through our nonsense, right, in order to get the good insights and takeaways that are going to revolutionize your whole business and transform industries, right? So, we're doing all this for the love of the kids, okay, K through 12. IoT Coffee Talk. We have a charity, Elevate Our Kids, at www.elevateourkids.org, where we're trying to help bridge the digital divide for kids K through 12. And we hope you have it in your hearts to donate, and help these kids out, right? We need to foster bright futures for everyone in this age of AI, where the AI gods are going after our jobs and our purpose. Right? Isn't that right, Pete?
That's the rumor.
Mr. Edge AI. It's all going to happen
at the geared
end.
Up.
That's the crazy thing, right?
Saved by the edge.
It's all you young people that are screwing it up for the old people.
I thought it was the old people who screwed it up for the young people.
Not in this case.
The other way around. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, so welcome everybody. How's it going?
So, Leonard, it sounds like you mentioned your jet lag. Where did you fly in from?
Oh, I was in Copenhagen for DTW TM Forum's Digital Transformation World Ignite 2025. I hadn't been to one in about 3 years. Just because, there wasn't a lot happening with telco and digital transformation. Everybody was kind of down and out about it, right? Again, victim of hype cycles. And, there was all this talk about private networks and metaverse and all this other nonsense. So actually, I think a lot of the metaverse nonsense sucked the oxygen out of the room for all of the 5G like transformation, modernization topics that I was trying to build up.
Right.
And because remember, everybody was so preoccupied with, hey, we're a metaverse company. oh, we're in the metaverse is going to change everything. Oh, you need to have a metaverse ready network, right? I'm serious.
Yeah.
People have to remember this crap because this is like a lineage of stupidity, right? It is. I mean, everybody wants, talks about data lineage. We need stupidity lineage, right? Where we're able to track all the stupid crap that we've done so that we don't make the same mistakes again. But, as they say,
we need a
Leonard,
we need a Wayback machine.
yeah, we need to start a cryptocurrency and a distributed ledger to track
Maybe there's a
historical stupidity.
Maybe there's a way to mine the
immutable
LinkedIn posts. We can mine LinkedIn posts going back over time.
but guys, there is no way we have enough CPUs and GPUs to mine.
We can invent a new thing. It's called stupidity as a service, right? SaaS.
Yeah, it's called the internet. It's called the internet, man.
Yeah. But I mean that's I think the whole problem with FOMO. FOMO fosters just rampant stupidity. Just people making up stuff and everyone becoming lemmings that are ready to go jump off the cliff or run off the cliff with everyone else. I mean,
yeah, plus you can't really listen to journalists, right? So they're just looking for the next shiny object to talk about. They don't know what the hell they're talking about.
True.
So anyway,
the hype cycle.
Yeah, it was
speaking of the hype cycle. Welcome, Rob.
Oh yeah, he is the hype cycle. What's up?
Happy midsummer, everyone.
Midsummer.
It's June.
Yeah, I think
it's the solstice. It's the solstice.
Tomorrow.
Well,
Tomorrow I get to stay at the beach as long as possible.
That's right.
Right on.
Really? Isn't it like really, really hot?
Not with the breeze coming off the ocean the last 2 weeks.
Okay, lucky you. Everyone else is like sizzling, baking, and steaming, right? Yeah. Welcome to the new world.
Yeah, Rob, all you have to do is go up to the middle of Alaska for 97-degree days. Man, not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal.
Yeah.
I grow my best wine up in Alaska these days.
Really?
It's been a real game changer for me. Never thought that I'd be able to buy so much cheap land for my new vineyards.
It's not ice wine either, is it?
No, we're getting some good cabs and Syrahs, so it's all working out.
Yeah.
I'll be in Alaska at the end of August. I'll come out there and till with you.
Excellent. Love the tilling.
Yeah. I think this time of year is when, like how during Christmas, Mariah Carey's, Christmas album
the only way she makes $3 million a year.
Yeah. I think this time of year is when Nelly record sales go up with that one tune that he has. Is like what is that tune? It's getting hot in here.
So take off all your clothes.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, we all love Nelly at this time of year, especially in Vegas.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, where all the tech companies want to converge us on a monthly basis, which is ridiculous.
I have to go back there on Monday.
Damn it! Oh my god!
I just got home and I got to go back again on Monday. Man, it's just back-to-back Vegas sizzles.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys need a break, we're going to be in Milan first week of July. Although I was going to say it's going to be hot. So
I'll be there. That's when I'll be there too.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Come by.
Perfect.
Come by.
Do a live broadcast that Friday the 11th or whatever it is.
Yeah. No, have fun. I can't make it out. It's just way too much travel for me.
Yeah. I could imagine.
But I will be with you guys in spirit. So
good. No, it'll be fun time. We're going to be packed. But I was looking at the weather forecast. I mean, it'll be like mid 80s, high 80s.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Not the end of the world.
I'm going to be in Lugano at the World Championships for 13 days, leaving next Tuesday, and it's like 85.
The basketball championships.
I love that.
85 with a low of 70 in Lugano, Switzerland.
Love that. I've been to Lugano. That's awesome, dude.
Tell me what to do.
Just keep scooting on over to Lake Como. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, I will do that on my first next Thursday when we don't have a game going over.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Pete, you should check out the Catalyst program that TM Forum has for it's really good. You might want to just study that because they put together such a great program.
What did you learn?
What did I learn? What I learned, it's not what I learned typically because I do such broad research. It's more of I go in there just to see whether or not these folks that are talking all this fluffy innovation stuff actually know what they're talking about. And what I'm seeing is that even through these Catalyst projects that you have operators as well as the vendors collaborate on, they're discovering this stuff is so hard. And one of the things that they keep bringing up is how the data is the problem. There's readiness issues from an operational standpoint or, change management, all prototypical, stuff that everyone brings up every single, tech hype cycle. But one of the things that they don't realize is that with AI, we brought up on the show, it's about knowledge. If your knowledge is crap, your data, it can be good. Your AI still is going to be crap. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think they've come to that realization yet, but in most instances, there's this full path to realization, but there are some companies that are ahead of the curve, you can tell. And it's probably because they, follow me and follow next research.
That goes without saying.
I mean, I have to say, man, you just read my stuff. It's like, holy shit, called it 2 years ago. No, I actually have people send me stuff. They say, look at this McKinsey report. You talked about this shit, 16 months ago, 18 months ago. I mean, the evidence is there. It's not like I'm making this stuff up, but there are companies that I do talk to, so they follow my stuff. They're being much more sensible about the AI. The other thing is that the biggest challenge, and it's one of my top takes for the event, was carrier grade is the most important vector. I mean, you can imagine all kinds of crap, right? Making it carrier grade is the primary vector of innovation that people need to focus on, because you can concoct anything in your imagination about how AI can do X, Y, Z. Figuring out those little artifacts, the architectures, the structures that can make that idea telco grade is the biggest problem. And
what's your vector, Victor?
Never mind. Yeah. I just love that word, Rob.
Vector.
Oh my god!
But that's all. But you're talking about commercialization of going from the POC to the deployment to a commercialized deployment that's actually robust and sustainable in the real world. And there's always a big gap there between I made this tech and I actually deployed it for like an extended period of time. So that you carrier grade to me is another way of saying like squeezing all the bugs and performance issues out. And so that it's really predictable and reliable and supportable. And that's unglamorous work, by the way, very unglamorous work. But there's always this gap, and we see it all the time, especially I see it in the ed space too. It's like you've got this cool thing, but it's like, okay, I want to deploy 100,000 of them across all these oil wells. It's like, okay, there's a big gap. There's a lot of work there. Doesn't seem like it because it's working here, but on your desk.
But in the lab, it works.
But that's an opportunity gap there.
I just love the term carrier grade. Carrier grade used to mean something a long time ago. It meant specialized hardware that was the most expensive thing possible for mobile networks. It meant you were running AIX from IBM or Solaris, hardcore Unix. And then carrier grade, well, there's the carrier grade as Pete's talking about, but carrier grade was a telco terminology. And now, they've been trying desperately to not be carrier grade for years. They're trying to go commodity servers.
Run fast and break things.
Yeah. And so it's like, do like Meta, let the software hold it together like all the clouds. Servers are failing.
Maybe your call drops, maybe it doesn't, whatever. No big deal.
Right. Yeah. You're good. Yeah.
No, it's true. It's lost a little bit of its luster in terms of terminology, but I get it.
Yeah. And, the other thing I discovered is a lot of people know about our show. The first thing, especially if I bump into an Eric person, and they go, "Oh yeah, you play guitar and you hang out with Rob." Yeah,
I was saying Nelly.
Yeah, and it's pretty funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
There you go.
That.
Yeah,
IoT Coffee Talk community out there.
Whether it's MWC or DTW, I haven't been there in a while. People jump out of the woodworks, and the first thing they
don't know if this is a tech podcast or if this is like Milli Vanilli.
I think in addition to many other issues that we could talk about with AI, I think especially when you're trying to deploy something where accuracy is important, vital, in fact, it just doesn't cut it, right? And so people trying to be AI first and stuff, I mean, it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Anything deterministic. I mean, AI is inherently an indeterministic system, so you want to be. This is the issue with like aerospace has with AI, right? The aerospace industry, which needs to be very deterministic and very buttoned up, and all the data needs to have provenance and integrity. And you can't just kind of throw a Jetson box in there and start winging it.
Well, but I mean, we talked about that on the show several times. I think it's statistical based on existing text. So I always say the same thing. If you're looking to learn about a subject area that has been very well documented for years, it will be of fantastic help. But if you're trying to create something totally new or demonstrate something that has not been crafted yet, it will just generate garbage. It is as simple as that. So it's very funny because there was this that was published in France yesterday, but I think it's based on an MIT research where they actually looked at how people cognitively behave when they write an essay with AI, without AI. And it actually shows that you basically become more dumb if you write essays with Gen AI, which I would say make total sense, because what you expect it to do with an essay is to write new thinking about a new subject. Yeah. So if you expect Gen AI to help you with that, you're totally wrong. So now Gen AI can help you learn about the subject and then form your mind and write something. But it's the use case that is wrong. We're trying to use those things for replacing human cognition.
Yeah.
For me, it's fantastic just to get access to knowledge. Now, if it's an edge science, I'm not going to ask Gen AI. But if I want to learn about roofing, which I'm doing at the moment for whatever reason, fantastic, because there's tons of things that have been written about roofing.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I was doing that with, like, I had do-it-yourself project that I had to do for one of the properties that I have, and it was helpful. You take a picture.
How to,
yeah, but that's not necessarily generative AI. That's the problem.
No,
Everyone thinks that's generative AI. Yeah, it is search. Like circle to search on Google.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many people think that's generative AI. It's not.
Yeah,
and when you go and you actually bother to ask questions, right?
Oh, but
humans should be good at doing. You discover, hey, so this is how you designed it, and this is how it works. Oh, this has nothing to do with generative AI. So,
but Dimitri, I want to know why Dimitri is researching roofies. I don't understand that.
No, roofing.
Roofing. Okay.
Roof. Sorry,
got it.
No, but
he's going out clubbing tonight, and he was researching roofies.
No, that was a long time ago when I was.
Okay, all right.
Way past that.
Let's bring it back to the center here.
He's been rehabilitated. He's out of jail. Let's not bring that up again.
All right.
Never made it to jail.
My mistake. I misheard.
No, but I'm not totally in agreement with you, Leonard, here, because I do believe that the problem with search is that there's so much content you can distill it. And one thing that Gen AI is good at is finding patterns.
It's true. That's true.
So again, you have to look at the scope of what you're looking for. You have to look for things that you know or have good confidence that the field has been researched and there's enough good quality information about it. And
but think about how search works. Okay, typically what we used to do is we used to tag content, right? You tag content. There's metadata that describes the content. And then now with generative AI, it infers what that particular artifact, that document, whatever it is, right? And, generative AI also leverages metadata. And so, as we know on the internet, tagging is not consistent. The metadata is not consistent. A lot of it is actually crap. And you have had over years this effort by the search engine companies to make the data better, right? The metadata better, so that you can find content, or at least they could then control what you could see more accurately, right? That really is the purpose. So balancing, how do we somehow enable our micro targeting ad engine with valuable search results, right? That's been their goal. And with generative AI, there's this layer of inference that adds all of the challenges that generative AI engines bring to the table, right? It is the hallucinations, and that doesn't necessarily make things better. That's why, what do you call it? The AI overviews, they freaking suck. I don't care what people say. I consistently find massive hallucinations in all the results if you actually click through everything and you test the results, right? Mm-hmm. And also when I go on, when I was at DTW and other conferences, it's always confirmed this stuff is early. We can't push out these agentic frameworks because this is early days. We're piloting maybe or experimenting with some customers, but this stuff is not out there. And if it is out there, what is it? One of the CISOs got up on stage at Cisco Live and says that anyone says that they have an answer and they know what the solution is, they're a liar. That's what he said on stage, and then everyone clapped. You know what I'm saying? And so, how many bullshitters are out there?
Mucho.
It's incredible.
Muy.
Look at what Ericsson did. Ericsson's thing was no BS. OSS BS.
No BS.
Freaking love it. Yeah. And I had a chat with Matt, Matt Carlson, right? Yeah. He didn't talk to me about any kind of bullshit stuff. He was like just straight up real. And then AWS, their partner, when they were talking about agentic, they're very thoughtful. In fact, they took more of a model of, instead of taking the man out of the middle, putting the man out in the periphery, as well as the AI in the periphery. So you have to think about all this stuff in full life cycle and figure out, okay, how do we leverage automation concepts to put AI as well as the person in the periphery to drive reliable or carrier grade automation, intelligent automation, right? That's kind of like the thinking that everyone is settling in. All this stuff is going to be hybrid. So the stuff that Jensen talks about, where everything is going to be autonomous and blah, 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 and accelerated computing, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So that's nonsense.
Yeah, but that story sells shovels, right?
The cost is
yeah.
She's right.
It is, but when the ground truth, right? It's at edge AI, right? The ground truth says no.
Wow.
What do you do?
There you go.
How are you going to reconcile that?
Leonard's just blowing up everything here.
I know. Leonard's just causing.
I'm trying to help.
Setting it on fire. It's all on fire.
It's the facts.
Yeah, it's
just
what's
happening.
Realistic. It's just not realistic. Yeah. We're seeing a lot of people doing it wrong ways, so we're trying to tell them how to do it the right way.
Sure. Yeah. I see Bill's on. Bill, what's up?
I'm just enjoying the conversation. It's a lot of what, and you're seeing it across other industries that, I mean, when it's made its way into the utility industry, you know there should be widespread panic.
I agree.
Oh my God.
They can't control the grid or the devices on the grid or any of that stuff today in a meaningful way. And yet they're talking about implementing AI and agentic frameworks. And I'm like, who the hell are you talking to?
Yeah, I think a lot of folks are thinking of agentic frameworks as a code word for replacing human jobs with AI. That's like when they say agentic frameworks, they're like, well, I'm going to create these agents, an army of agents instead of employees. Like the IT becomes the HR department, right? It's like, I'm going to have all these folks, these agents do all this stuff, and then I won't have to hire as many people, which I think is going to be just end in a very big.
That's disastrous. That's the equivalent of Alexander Haig claiming to be in charge of the asylum.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Interesting metaphor.
I mean, it is. When you look at it, that's how ridiculous it sounds, right? I mean,
well,
now that being said, we've all been in the customer service queue. I mean, probably on a daily basis. There's some sort of customer support scenario we're all part of. And certainly that area can use a much better kind of AI backend and agentic AI framework to help people answer questions with the most mundane things possible.
Oh, yeah.
So there's lots of areas here that'll get improved on a daily basis and make businesses a lot more efficient.
Unfortunately, they're trying to deploy it in the wrong places, right? So whenever I hear a company they want to go AI first, basically that means that they're firing humans so that I become their employee when I deal with them because I have to do all the work now.
But and take your customer service thing, Pete, to another level too. So I own a percentage of a company out of Illinois that is a onshore customer experience tech support firm or IoT. We have won some serious deals over the last couple of months from companies that were only doing chatbots for support. And no one wanted to talk to a chatbot. They wanted They wanted to talk to a U.S. onshore human being. Now, if I'm the screen guy and I'm using AI in the old, you talk about coming back, the decision tree model via AI as a customer service screen. Okay.
I see. So AI is helping that human
but
find
not
the answer.
Gen AI.
Interaction with the end user.
Right. So you've trained your Gen AI chatbots to sound like American humans, is what you're saying.
Yeah, no, we use
I'm just kidding.
You're just reading it from
You're such a smart ass.
My name is Bob. I'm from Ohio. Can I help you today?
That's right.
Well, but isn't that
tonight I'm sleeping in Mumbai though.
isn't that just an instance? I mean, to me, I guess to some degree I can draw some level of rational correlation to the customer service end of it because they have existing run books.
Yeah.
Right. They have scripts and they have and they have the stats. They know what the calls are going to be. I mean, they just
No, hey, you know what Gen AI is going to replace, the job that is going to be replaced is that of the FAQ page on your website. That's freaking perfect. I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, one of the things I was talking to a lot of folks about lately is, underserved and unserved aspects of customer service, right? Abandoned call rates. And how about reducing that? How about, reducing the time to resolution of all of these calls that come in that are, don't touch a human, right? And are oftentimes just like simple stuff and like FAQ level stuff that can be resolved if there's, simple, let's say, what do you call it? Tools, as they call them in the agentic AI world, that can go and resolve those very simple things or retrieve information very simply to address that that inquiry or that call, right? Resolve that call.
And there's a point of that, though, Leonard. We use ServiceNow and Zendesk for all of our information on the back end. We have a customer that came to us and said, we've reduced their multiple call AI generated FAQ stuff to a one call resolution with a human.
Awesome.
With a human. So you're sitting there going,
oh, really?
Yeah. So think about that. So I go to my FAQ, it's AI generated, and it still is requiring multiple times to come to the site. Whereas if you picked up the phone and called the person, and John from Illinois picked up the phone and did a one call resolution to your rebooting of your router or your gateway or anything else, or checking out your multi-MZ SIM, can you do that on a chatbot? Can you do that all the time? A lot of people struggle with that crap, right? So,
I mean, it depends. I know AT&T, has some of that capability. It's not necessarily generative AI, but that's the problem. I mean, it is a challenge, but I'm surprised to hear that, and you're not. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you address the underserved and unserved? I mean, you're people who are going off, like laying off all of their call center people are high on crack. It's like, okay, if you want your churn rate to go even higher, go ahead and do that. They're already unable to service most 80% of the calls that come in,
Sure.
So AI can help you at least address some of that, and that's cool. But it's going to change the world.
Do you really need AI for that?
No.
I mean, I think you can write a set of pandas.
That's why everyone is now, like, all the strategy consulting firms are writing about how there's no ROI in this stuff. It's like freaking hilarious. It's like, where's the big revolution that we forecasted?
That's because how much of AI is predicated on GPU? You're never going to get to that point if that's the foundation that's driving it.
Dude, what people are trying to do is figure out how to offload and just minimize the cost of inference. Guess where that's going? Is going onto the CPU.
My point exactly.
CPU or low power stuff. I mean, I saw a stat. I won't quote my source, but it's like half of all AI workloads are just running on CPUs at this point.
Yeah.
And when you get to the edge, it's like, as you know, you want to spend the least amount of money to get the job done as quickly as possible. And that means not stuffing your equipment filled with expensive GPUs that are going to sit idle. So it's all the gravitational pull is all toward lower power, lower cost. It always is. And I think we're seeing that with AI as well.
Yeah, latency is everything.
You're going to use a Xeon 6 with the AMX extensions, folks.
But guys,
more a microcontroller.
Rob, oh my God!
Guys,
I actually told this to Pat Gelsinger almost 2 years ago when they were like bringing what's his name, friggin' Sam Altman on stage to talk about the $7 trillion investment
fundraising round.
Fundraising he was going to do to build. I mean, think about talk about the lineage of stupidity. Think about that. How everybody was salivating over that rumor. It was like, holy crap.
Yeah. Speaking about our good friend Sam, if you were wondering why recently in all his interviews, and he's coming out and saying we've already reached and passed AGI, he's saying it a lot in the last week or two in every interview. We've already passed AGI. There's a reason for that, because part of his contract with Microsoft, there was a clause like achieving AGI gets them out of some things, because right now there's a battle going on right now quietly between him and Satya.
But this is total BS. You can call any lawyer and read what AGI means, and they're gonna argue for decades about it. So if you make money with AGI in the contract, this is the pinnacle of stupidity.
Well, that doesn't say much for Satya, right? And his discernment.
I don't know.
In this matter.
I don't know. I mean, it's just, it's just, he's just saying it. It's obviously it's because it's what he needs and what he wants to try to get out from underneath.
Well,
maybe
I think
Microsoft
a lot of these
owns
folks,
their ass.
Yeah, maybe.
I think a lot of these foundation model companies, they're struggling right now with commoditization of foundation models, and and I think that's causing a lot of and the amount invested and bet on these foundation models is causing a lot of folks to sort of think about their long-term play here. So
exactly.
Sorry,
As soon
Dimitri,
as I win my $20 trillion copyright infringement lawsuit against all those guys, this whole gang is over for copying my children's books. So watch out.
There you go. I thought you were going to say your submarine book, but
well, that's one. Yeah, none of that fair use crap that they keep trying to say.
Here's a good use case of agentic AI. Saturate the system by having all those agents generating lawsuit about copyright infringement. You have the framework, Rob. We can just run that.
There are so many lawsuits right now against these companies, and they're going nowhere, though, it seems.
Oh, because the foundation, the foundation is not solid enough to assess whether they're right or wrong. So it's a total new territory. So we have to redefine. I mean, we had conversation on the show before. We have to redefine what is knowledge. Should a teacher in a pre-engineer school in France sue me because I've used what he taught me to make money?
Well, hey, let's talk about stuff that Debbie loves to talk about. What do you think about those new headlines about that ridiculous data breach?
Oh my God!
I know. I mean, this is just in 2 months, right?
Which one is?
Yeah,
it's like crazy.
Which one is this one, Leonard?
Let her tell you about it.
Oh,
it should come from her.
Yeah, it was like this is supposed to be the biggest data breach of all time now, and they say that this is new data, not necessarily data that's been scraped from other breaches and stuff. And so, I mean, everybody's just exhausted. Okay, exhaustion of just looking at all these articles, and so people's eyes glaze over. So it's like change your passwords. Part of it is like use passcodes, change your passwords, use a password manager, all that other type of stuff. But it just happens so often that I think people are just kind of desensitized to it at this point.
But Debbie, this one was across the board with a lot of different organizations getting involved. I mean, 180 million people affected. That's a sizable number.
Oh, 16 billion, something like 16 billion passwords have been.
Passwords, but 185 million people.
Yeah.
Still.
It's catastrophic, absolutely. But it's like, I mean, the average person, they're like, well, I thought I was doing the best that I could, right? So it's like, people don't know what to do, really.
90% of those people are not even going to do anything because they don't know. They don't care.
That's right.
There's no awareness. And then they're going to get hacked.
And a lack of awareness. Like, I never received anything from LastPass.
Yeah. Here's the thing that...
Never sent us an email or a warning or you need to change your LastPass password. Nothing.
Here's the thing that's really scary. That for some reason, this is the weird thing. People just don't seem to take this angle on these incidents, is that the institutions that you deal with, they don't trust you now. When we talk about hacks, we always talk about, my personal information got compromised and, somebody can steal my crap, right? And they can impersonate me. Well, yeah, and that also means that institution, whether it's a bank or it's a government agency, they can't trust your digital identity, right?
I prefer that.
Huh?
I prefer that. Make
Why?
me prove that I am who I am.
That's the foundation. That's the foundation of trust unraveling underneath us, man.
That's because the foundation of trust has never been established.
Correct.
This is not about trust. It's about authentication. Two very different things.
No, but they're tied
foundation
together.
of trust. If you can't,
they're tied together.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're tied together, but they're not one cannot replace the other. Is the point?
But if you don't have a foundation of trust,
other.
You can't do the other end of it. You need the two together.
Absolutely.
I mean, for example, I know some banks had doubled down over the years, which I found was laughable, on using voice as an authentication factor. And I'm like,
I know.
what?
My voice is my password. My voice is my password.
That was horrible. It's terrible. And it was never a good idea. And it's totally not a good idea right now.
Oh, it's really, really bad.
Give me an example of a good idea from a bank.
So now they're going to need blood samples. It's going to turn to Gattaca,
Love that.
Yeah,
that's not far-fetched. That's not far-fetched.
To the extreme.
Far-fetched, yeah.
Are you meaning that selection can replace trust?
What?
Meaning that selection can replace trust.
No, that's a different problem.
Or something.
Yeah, no one's talking about the genetic engineering that's happening with CRISPR, and probably how like some of these celebrities and really rich people are genetically engineering their progeny to become superhumans.
That was the topic of
Gattaca.
That was the topic of
different thing.
That was the topic of Gattaca. That's why I was.
Yeah,
I know.
And so what's going to happen based on the Gattaca thing is the bank's going to do the blood sample. They're going to find out that you've got a disease that's going to hit you like in 6 months. And they're not going to give you the 30-year mortgage on the house that you were trying to get.
No, that's right.
Rob.
That's not far-fetched.
Oh my gosh.
You are totally wrong, Rob.
Good. Woo.
What the banks are going to do is to engineer people who are more likely to borrow money so they can make money out of them. This is what you want to
people.
Yes.
Wow.
You want to do for a bank.
Are you talking about kind of like the engineer in Prometheus?
Prometheus, yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
Remember, he took the pill and body falls apart into the water system of a new planet, and it creates a whole new. So maybe that's what the banks are going to do: is engineer new people who have good credit scores and can buy things. All right, I'm done with that. Yeah, it's going to happen.
No. But Rob, you don't want good credit score. You want bad credit score, so you can spend money with a higher interest rate and make more money. You're not getting it. You're not getting it, man.
We want the non-banked people.
Yeah, you're not getting it. You want a whole generation of people who borrow a lot at high rates. This is how you make money.
Right.
So it's not necessarily the blood work. It's the clinics that the bad bank people go to.
No, it's actually the generations. So Rob, you don't have to worry about it. You're too old. It's not gonna hit you. It'll hit Gen Z and the alphas, and then because they can't get jobs today coming out of college anyway. Yeah. So they're gonna need to go into debt, to even more debt, to actually survive.
Actually,
Equifax buys Quest Diagnostics for blood work across the.
Oh my God, we're so bad, and yet we're so prophetic.
Yeah, that's the scary thing.
in 2 years, we won't be laughing about that.
Right. Quest Diagnostics buys 23andMe at a bargain basement price. So now we just take your blood, put it into the system, and they know everything.
Exactly. That's horrible.
You know what I actually heard recently is somebody mentioning plumbers. That you should become a plumber
because
they make a lot of money,
news, bro.
No, I know that. I know it's old news for us, but it's funny that now people are talking about you should become a plumber or get into a trade, and so
everybody's saying it. Go to the trades.
No, trades are hot.
There's a lot of parents these days wondering what subject that their kids should major in. And here's the ironic thing. Remember we used to make fun of basket weaving, right?
Underwater basket weaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be a thing. Right? Number one, if you YouTube it, it's entertaining. And then number two, you're developing a skill which might actually have a
downtown
human-made premium, right? And if you're actually good at it, you can actually sell a lot of crap through an AI chatbot, right? So this is like the new entrepreneurial framework. And
Leonard, this is Leonard's career advice: become a basket weaver.
I thought he would say something valuable, like become a welder.
You know what? Sometimes, okay. To counter stupidity, you must come up with a really stupid idea.
Got it. You're flipping it. You're flipping it upside down.
So it's like dumb and dumber.
Congratulations, Leonard. You brought the entire hour back to the stupidity level.
Yeah, the continuum.
As I always remind people about the trades, where you're looking for 100,000 people to come help build Virginia class and Columbia class submarines. Literally, go to buildsubmarines.com. They're dying. They will train you. They'll pay you to train you. You can be a welder, CNC. They need people so bad.
Yeah. And Robin, that's exactly why they did the NASCAR sponsorship.
Yeah.
Because they wanted that kind of class of people to be able to come back and do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Those are my people.
I know.
That's my class of people. I'm Mr. Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby, right here.
You're Bob the Welder. Bob the Welder.
Bob the Welder.
No,
how about there was a statue of baby Jesus in your house somewhere.
Baby Jesus.
Little 6 pound, 5 ounce baby Jesus.
Exactly. In your ghost manger. Oh my God.
I
love that movie.
That's so funny.
Oh my God.
There's somebody on another planet listening to IoT Coffee Talk going, what the hell is wrong with these people?
Well, I have a piece of titanium here, so.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I've changed my name to El Diablo. It's like a fighting chicken. Yeah.
All of this sounds a bit like cognitive dissonance with undertones of conflicting cognition.
That's big, serious words there.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a
oof
course, a college course.
Hours start early for you today, Bill?
That's an
I'm just saying that
no basket weaving for Bill. That's
no
kidding.
Yeah. Well, that would be curriculum. That would be a class right next to basket weaving.
Yeah, as a young Obi-Wan would say, Bill, you were the chosen one.
Yeah. It is getting pretty petty, man. Yeah, but no, I love, I came up with this like whole keep it real awards thingy. I just pulled it out of my ass. I mean, hopefully everyone who was an award winner realizes that, but it seems like it's getting traction because, some of the marketing teams of some of the brands who, of the winners seem to like it. I'm just like trying to be real, right? As like, hey, these guys were the most non-bullshitting people that I talked to. I think there's going to be an appetite for that because eventually this stuff is going to be so, exhausting. And the results are just not there. I mean, it's just spectacular how little ROI there is. And if there is a thesis of return, the return part is so far off and so disconnected from the massive amounts of AI infrastructure spend that's happening. And keeping in mind that a lot of this infrastructure spend is happening in supercomputing. It's not even the edge stuff. There's a mismatch. There's an imbalance, in this narrative. And I guarantee you the answer that everyone on the supercomputing side will give you when you ask them, so, okay, you're building all this stuff and to what end? And this is, well, we don't know. Or, how is this AI thing going to sustain itself and achieve some degree of ROI? It's like, well, we don't know. They don't know.
Well, that's because they're talking about a flipping tool.
Yeah.
You can do this. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and, just to be clear, this generative AI in La La Land is totally different than the stuff Pete's doing with Edge AI and machine learning that is legit.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Every giant corporation right now, you're right, because we're going to their events in Vegas every week, and that's all they're talking about and how you're going to run your whole business on that and everything. And yet, we're still in the earliest days, and if you open the little README text file when you download any of these LLMs and this technology, they're all really clear. This is still experimental.
Right.
It doesn't really work all the time.
Do not use it for anything critical.
Yeah. There's a million caveats. And so the fact that people are just like, yeah, I'm blowing past that and we're going to bet the farm on this thing.
But I mean, but look at the you want to keep it real. Look at what Edge AI Foundation is doing. They're not talking about, oh, we're just talking about AI. They're talking about solutions.
Yeah. There you go.
Solutions.
Yes. Solving real problems in the real world. That's the thing. And it's happening too. It's like, it's amazing to see.
Yeah.
It's becoming ubiquitous, and it's kind of a quiet revolution that's happening out there, especially as you can run more and more workloads, closer to where the data is created.
Yeah.
People are finding like, I can solve this problem. Like I was saying before, in the real world, you want to solve problems as fast as you can for the least cost. And that's just the way gravity works with business. I mean, it's just the way it is. So,
but you're doing that, you don't have to say, well, our AI solution does this. It's here's the problem. Here's the solution.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's another term that I've been using a lot is around sovereignty, right? So we're actually about to have this big event in Europe about AI, Edge AI, the ability to have sovereignty over your data, your data sets, your models, your hardware to run AI where you need to run it. Sovereignty is currency. And I think that that's going to be a big theme for folks is I can't bet the AI for my business on some other entity where I need to pay a tax, a cloud tax or a hyperscaler tax.
Or end up in the big story is that OpenAI is in this litigation with New York Times. And the judge in that case said that they have to stop deletion of all of their data everywhere in the world. And so that's like a disaster.
Huge. Yeah.
But
it's really high risk.
It's only the tip of the iceberg, because if you think about it deeply, they should delete the data and retrain the model without the data, because the model is the data. So it's an illusion. The data is out. It's an illusion now.
You know what? One of the biggest problems.
The data. Did they really delete the data?
Yeah.
Even if they do, the residual value is in the model. The pattern has been created in the model. So if you really believe in privacy, you should not say delete my data. You should say delete my data and detrain every single model that the data was used to train. Otherwise, it's an illusion. Especially in AI.
Just remember, folks, the files are in the computer.
No, they're not, because it's connected. I mean, it's connected. They're in the cloud already. You're done, my friend.
You're done. There's no deleting.
Oh my God.
It's everywhere.
I was very unrelated, but arguing with some people recently about those token card security, like the RSA token, the code, and so on and so forth. And they were saying, "Oh, it's so old now. You have the one that you can plug in with USB. You have the YubiKeys." And I'm saying, guys, if you plug the thing in, you're never sure what's gonna happen. So a little device that you prove you possess and that you have a secret to unlock yourself is still the most secure way to authenticate. It's not connected to
most trusted way.
Most trusted
secure is different. That's the thing.
It's both.
Yeah,
it should.
I like the idea of detraining, though. I like the term detraining. How do you detrain data?
Yes, I've been advocating that for years now, because when the Europe came in with this GDPR and this right to be forgotten, I told people it's an illusion. You've been giving data for 10 years. They train model for 10 years. You're still there. You can delete whatever you want. You're still there.
So the detraining is
the problem we're forgetting. So if we look at these world models, that's a big issue, right? And that's why you continue to have like these performance issues, because over time they all decline as you continue to train them and make them larger. But when you bring them down to enterprise, you have the same problem. These embeddings don't necessarily have a timestamp or anything that contextualizes their relevance as knowledge, right? And so the ability for these things to selectively forget is important, but there's no way of doing that,
right?
And
it's called catastrophic forgetting, where it may forget stuff. It may forget stuff that's good or bad.
Yeah.
So
there is a way. It's just extremely expensive. If you keep the data you use to train your model, you can remove the data and retrain your model, but it costs a lot.
Exactly.
No, it's not that complicated. Actually, it's very. The people say, "Oh, it's too complicated. We can do." Yes, you can freaking do it because
but it's expensive.
You should have data lineage, so you should know exactly which data was used for that model. It's called transparency, and you should be able to.
But think about how kludgy that is. That is so far away from being a learning system. These things don't actually learn. You train them.
I don't want a learning system.
Right? That's the funny thing.
Here is the point. I don't want a learning system. I want a forgetting system.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Basically, the thing that you're talking about is what these companies are spending trillions of dollars and trying to figure out, and that is how can we do this stuff that we're supposed to do without having to delete the model and start again. Yeah.
And that's why it's so important for no one to believe any of this stuff, because we talked about this before. If you trust the outcome, think about it personally. You know, this thing is harvesting information for everywhere, and then it represents you. And then it becomes the authority on who you are. And it hallucinates and does all this crap. I mean, it's already done it to several people that I know. Think about how toxic and damaging that is. I mean, it's horrific. And then if someone can manipulate that, you're fucked.
Yeah. I mean, how do we know Rob is really Rob?
That's why you can't trust any of this stuff.
Who wants to know that?
Well, I mean, hiring for HR, trying to get a job,
Oh, you see those scenarios all the time where people are using LLMs as they're interviewing online and answering questions in real time. And
you know what?
Is this person a jerk? Oh,
it's time to be that woman with the big hammer spinning around and smashing into this
1984.
That's what we need right now, because let's just end this thing right now. Because you know what? Nobody can get a job. I feel bad. All these college kids coming out, not a single one of them can find a job. There's a reason all this is happening.
Basket weaving.
And we're doing it to ourselves.
Plumbing.
We're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah. No. I think the Amish folks have it down. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Disconnect.
See that coming.
Have society completely disconnected from digital, and guess what? You go back. You go back to analog, because we've seen that before, where everyone went digital and they said, "Screw this crap."
Hey,
crap.
Where
we got to go.
Where
back
do the top tech execs send their kids to school? They send them to the Waldorf school. No tech is allowed. Every one of them sends them to the Waldorf schools in the Valley and other places. There's not any tech allowed in those places, and so you actually have a real brain.
Amish 2.0. There you go.
Amish 2.0. Absolutely.
Amish 2.0 is furniture making and pie making. Trades.
Basket making.
I love it.
Basket weaving. I mean, as stupid as this sounds, it will end up being the brilliant thing. It will be the less stupid of mass stupidity. So, I mean,
that's true.
Analog for the win.
Analog for the win.
Well, that's where AI is going. If you look at it from silicon perspective, neuromorphic compute, they're looking at analog as like the next.
Analog is the model.
Guys, to give me your advice on what flip phone I'm going to go to once I retire in a year or so.
The jitterbug,
Trump.
Of course.
Trump has a new phone.
Jitterbug.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to worry about things like needles and cartridges and stuff like that on your turntable.
That's right. Get a fresh cartridge on your turntable.
Gold mobile phone. Thank you very much.
Oh, there you go. There's probably a Trump Gold jitterbug out there somewhere.
That's what I'm hoping.
That's probably what he uses.
Yeah, go ahead, Dimitri.
I was trying to say to Pete that it depends if you have a mobile magnet or mobile coil. So
that's true for your turntable. We're talking turntable.
MM or MC. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
All right. Who wants to take us out?
I'm just going to wrap my neck in monster cable right now.
My favorite brand by far.
And I'm going to plug it into my tube amp, and we're going to blast it out to my pumping speakers. And the message is humanity first. Let's shut this stuff down. It's actually not accurate. Nobody can get a job. We're doing this to ourselves. So let's just stop in the name of love. All right. Thanks for joining us today on IoT Coffee Talk. It was great. We said the word IoT. It happened. There you go. Our Elevate Our Kids is needing more help than ever because we got unemployed kids all over the place. In fact, I think one of the new things, I just making this up as I go along. Elevate Our Kids will now be doing trades, training, kind of like a community college. We're going to help get scholarships for kids to become welders, electricians, plumbers, HVAC, that kind of stuff. It's important. And so, anyway, let's stick with what's real, man. Stick with what's real. Stick with what's true. Humanity first. We're out.